I don't mind the super team. I enjoy watching greatness. I appreciate really well-played basketball. And I understand if you're a fan of another team, why this makes you angry. But if you're not specifically disappointed by your team, I don't understand how people don't appreciate when you're seeing one of the great things in front of your eyes on a nightly basis.
Jared Greenberg, NBA TV, joins us. Well, because it has sapped all the drama out of things. I mean, the Western Conference playoffs was a bore. Look at how good the East is, and that we'll probably have at least a 6, perhaps a 7-game series to decide who goes
to the They were down by 15 in 3 consecutive games and came back to win. Like, to call that game a bore means you're just reading the recap after the game and not watching the game.
Well, come on. If we are not going to have the Warriors play for 9 days. Yes, individually being down by 16 is interesting, but in all of those games, I'm sure you said the same thing I did. Portland's not safe up 16, 17, 18. I said this on the air. I said unless they were going to be up at 28 or 29 or 30, it was not going to be safe. You almost knew it was inevitable they were going to choke those leads away.
Well, just remember, Golden State was up 31 in a game this postseason and lost.
Well, in a first-round series where they knew they were going to win anyway, right, with no chance of losing to the Clippers.
Okay. I mean, if you're watching that series, I think that, listen, did I think it would be the most ridiculous thing ever if the Clippers won? Yeah. But in the end, it was the longest series that Golden State had to play, and there were times where the Clippers looked like, oh, man, they're actually going to steal this one.
Well, okay, you just said it would have been the most ridiculous thing ever. Okay, so right. that's where your bar was if it happened. So I don't want to hear that it could have happened.
But to say the games themselves have not been entertaining, I think is a bit misleading if you're actually watching the game.
That's not a good barometer because interesting 4-game sweeps are not as interesting as 7-game series.
So you would take, hold on, this is a great question. So you would take a 7-game series where all 7 games are decided by 20 points or more over a 4-game series where all games are decided by 10 points or less?
Look, that's a fair question, but I would rather have the Golden State Warriors in a Game 7. Yes, I would rather have seen what happened last year against the Rockets, them have to go on the road in a game number 7, even if the Rockets missed 27 threes in a row, rather than a 4-game sweep over the Portland Trail Blazers. There was not a team in the West that could have sniffed them this year, as we saw from the Rockets, even without Kevin Durant. The West has been a bore this year because it's so inevitable, just like it was the last 2 years.
But so, again, another question for you, DA. I'm glad I'm interviewing you this morning. Why is it that we're putting it on Golden State for their greatness? And why don't we demand more of our teams to say, hey, listen, I actually think there's been
because they'd have to collect 2 of the 5 greatest players of all time, arguably, which is what the Warriors have.
What it is not giving Chris Paul a max contract, tying your hands for the next 5 years when he's going to be 37 years old, making $48 million a year. No, it's smart decision-making.
Okay, but who else has the option to go get Kevin Durant to team with Steph Curry and Clay and Draymond? The deck was stacked as soon as they got Kevin Durant.
Okay, so the Yankees in the 90s, they were absolutely wrong for everything that they did.
Well, wait a second. Am I blaming the Warriors for doing all that they can to be great? Of course not. Of course they should try to be great, but let's not act as though this is competitive balance. Let's not act as though, hey, everyone has a chance to do this. No, the Warriors were a 73-win team that had a moment in time because of the way that the salary cap jumped, because of the way that the TV contract was structured, and the way that the one player that could do this became a free agent at that exact time and was a gutless coward and had to go win a championship where he knew it was inevitable. That was the perfect storm for the Warriors, and they got it. Nobody else had that option. And since they were created like this, nobody's had the option to do the same exact thing, and it might never happen again.
Well, see, that's not true because there have been plenty of guys who have had the opportunity to leave. Paul George could have left this past summer.
But right? Paul George isn't Kevin Durant.
No, but we're talking about one guy, right? We're talking about
you called him the best player in the NBA. So when is the best player in the NBA going to join a 73-win team? Find me that scenario.
Right, but again, what I'm saying to the rest of the league is, and a big portion of the league over the last 5 years, who have decided that tanking is a better philosophy than being competitive. And I think that we too often punish the team for being great rather than focusing in on why didn't the rest of the league make better decisions. I get it. You're right. Like the great roster, maybe they still don't lose, but we could have had a better competitive series if the Rockets would have made some better roster decisions. If Portland, if Yusuf Nurkic doesn't get hurt, late in the regular season, maybe that series is a little different. Do the Warriors still win? Yes, but it's more competitive. To your point, maybe it goes longer.
But hang on. I mean, Jared Greenberg, you're saying it's unfortunate that Jusuf Nurkic got injured, whereas
Jusuf Nurkic.
Whereas the Warriors lost Kevin Durant and DeMarcus Cousins. Like,
right.
They have so much talent, they can lose 2 perennial All-Stars and one of the greatest players ever and still sweep in the Western Conference Finals. It is not an even playing field.